So, when I was a little kid, I remember my grandmother saying we were sweet enough and we didn't need any sugar in our cereal or sugar in our tea.
I should have saying that as
And
well.
I think that she was subtly trying to tell us to cut back on the amount of crap that we were eating. And this is something that I feel like many of us need to understand, that adding extra sugar to our life isn't healthy.
Mhm.
So today we're talking about sugar.
Yep.
Hello, Wellness Warriors. Welcome to Mind Blowing Health and Wellness with Violet. Pat Chat Edition. I'm Violet.
And I'm Pat, and we're gonna talk like about all forms of sugar, not only the added sugar, but the natural sugar that some people would might say that that is healthy. So no sugar. So am I allowed to eat fruits? I love fruits. I eat a banana, an apple, and an orange, or a pear almost every day. Is that too much sugar?
So I just looked that up because I'm just like, that's a lot of fruit. So
Mhm.
if I'm eating, and I put medium for all of these,
Mhm.
one banana, one apple, and one pear. Sorry, that's 23.9. So 24 grams of carbs for the banana. That is 19.3, so 19 grams of carbs for the apple. And the pear is coming in at 21.6, so 22 for the pear, for a freaking grand total of 64.8, so 65 grams just in fruit. And remember, this is net.
Mhm.
This is the fiber has been taken out. Just in fruit, you're eating 65 grams of carbs. If we consider that our body can only manage 5,
Mm.
like that's what it. So that means that when that 65 comes in, your body's now struggling to put 65 grams of carbs away, and that's not counting the rest of the food that you're
Mhm.
gonna eat for the day.
Yeah.
Wow, that's a
So
lot.
so the question is that too much sugar? Yes, and we can definitely yes. The thing is like two things gonna like two things couple things gonna happen actually, like those grams of carbs that you had are gonna go in fat storage. So like eating fruit and being lean, I think it's two things that are completely like opposite. So you're gonna have some fat storage. The other things that's gonna happen, like part of the sugar from fruit is fructose, and we talked about that before. Fructose is only
Metabolized.
meta so fructose is only metabolized by the liver, right?
Yeah.
So there's only all the burden of metabolizing that fructose is only one organ, and is like clearly damaging it, right?
A lot of the times, what we don't even realize is that we have many people who are not alcoholic, but that end up with non-alcoholic fatty liver
No.
disease. That's coming from the fructose that they're ingesting, whether from fruit or from high fructose corn syrup, both places. There's a lot of people that don't drink soda and still end up with that situation because they eat a lot of fruit. Again, like these are things that you can go talk to your doctor about. Don't take my word for it, right? I'm not trying to tell people what to do, but you're asking me, is fruit healthy? In my opinion, not a doctor, but just with everything I've learned from all the doctors that I'm listening to, not healthy.
Not healthy. And believe me, when I just read your comment, and I was like that before. I used to be a fruit lover. Since I've changed my diet and went low carb keto, I'm not eating fruits anymore. Not even like I don't remember. Sometimes I say in videos, oh yeah, sometimes I'm gonna have blackberries. I don't even remember last time I had like even berries. What's keep you eating fruit is actually
Eating
like the
fruit.
carb addiction. It's actually eating fruit. You can get your vitamin C from other places, your fiber from other places. Yeah, you would be better switching to low glycemic vegetables instead, eating those fruits.
And by the way, we think we need fiber to go to the washroom, but another thing that helps us to go to the bathroom is fat. And I'm sure well, I'm not sure, but I know that I've had the experience where I eat something that was high in fat and I'm in the washroom.
You're gonna make me put poop emote like on the screen all over again.
But so I think we have an interesting idea, again, from misinformation that tells us that we need all these things. Now, you're telling me that you love fruit. I caution people when they say, I like carby things, and not realizing that It's not, I can't love something that I'm addicted to. It's like an alcoholic saying, but I love alcohol. No, you don't. You're addicted to alcohol, right? Because it's causing problems in your life and you're not letting it go. And you need to think about that. We have parts of our brain that react to sugar. And for most of us, I know myself, it's been my reality. I don't know a time in my life that I wasn't eating carby foods until recently. So could I actually say that I loved chocolate? No, I was addicted to chocolate. Could I actually say that I loved cookies? No, I was addicted to all that stuff. Potatoes, I was addicted to it. It's not that I loved it. I was addicted to it. We have to be careful about how we're talking to ourselves, because if I tell myself I love it, I'm going to keep eating it because, no, it's just because I like it, until I try not to have it and realize I get withdrawal symptoms. If you're telling me that you love fruit, don't have them for 2 weeks and see what happens to you. Right? You're either going to ramp up all the other carby things that you eat, and if you try to put all the carby things down, you're going to have withdrawal symptoms because you're addicted. And it's important for us to understand that.
Yeah. So given that to be in ketosis, the consensus is for you to have 20 grams of carbs of less per day. Even having one of those fruits puts you over your 20 grams and make it so you never be in ketosis. So you use.
Well, I'm not imagining that this is someone that's
keto,
doing keto. I think the reason that this person watched my video was probably because I was talking about Dr. Fung and how he helped me to understand weight loss. Now, Dr. Fung also talks about fasting, and that's maybe another reason that they might have come to the video. But I don't believe, if you're telling me you're eating all that fruit, I doubt you're doing keto yet. I hope you're going to decide to do keto, because the damage that you're doing to your liver with all that fruit isn't great.
Another question. I can't wait your reaction on this one. Once you're on keto, can you have cake on birthdays or on special occasions? Can we have birthday cake or cheat meals?
You can do whatever you want to do. I mean,
yeah.
I can't stop you from having cake. I can't stop you from having cheat meals. I can't. But is it advisable? Not at all. So let's think about this. I'm going to ask you a different question. Once you've kicked your alcohol addiction, is it okay to have a drink on your birthday? Right? Once I start using cocaine, is it okay for me to have cocaine on my birthday? It's the same thing. I was addicted to carbohydrates. If I allow myself to have a normal, regular carby cake, a normal, regular cookie, a normal, regular piece of bread, is going to kick me up into, unless maybe a piece of bread. If I have one slice of bread and I don't have anything else for the day, maybe I can get away with that because I won't get kicked out of ketosis. But anything that's going to my brain and cause that carb chase to happen is going to put me back in a situation where now I'm chasing carbs. And we've all seen it with our friends who kick smoking, kick drinking, kicked whatever other drug, and then had it, and how they're back pulled into that situation for months, maybe even years again before they're able to get back out. And we need to understand that there is a reaction happening in our brain and in our body to sugar, which is why you had withdrawal symptoms when you let go of sugar. And even if they were mild, they were still there. And that's why we have to be very careful about allowing it back into your life. And I'll be the first to say that when I was doing super good and then thought, oh, I'm gonna have nuts. And then did I get pulled down a rabbit hole with nuts that it was just like finding myself eating like ridiculous amount? Why? Because actually it was just touching my addiction and getting me to eat too many. We all need to be careful because we can be pulled in so easily, right? Addiction is not within Violet's control.
Yeah, that's the thing. Like if you open, and I've been through that like too, like if you open the door and you allow yourself, like you give yourself some like special permission, then the week after, what's going to prevent you to have that piece of bread? And the week after, then it's going to be like another occasion, not your birthday but a friend's birthday, and the other occasion is going to be like lunch at eventually when we get back to, well, maybe you guys like are back at work and you can go to restaurants. So us, like, it's not possible, but like, you can have a pizza. It's really like all in your head, and if you give yourself that permission, like then the next time, like, it's gonna be, oh, it's not that bad. So
yeah, you're talking about the mental piece of the puzzle.
Totally.
The psychological, it's okay for me to do this. And that's important to say, because if I tell myself it's okay, I'm going to do it.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Yeah.
And here's a question for you. How about celebrating with something that's healthy?
Mm-hmm.
How about celebrating by going to a movie, or celebrating by eating a steak, or celebrating by like having fun with your kids, or going out with your friends, or like doing things that don't involve eating poor quality food? How about that? Why do we think that junk food is the only way to celebrate?
Yeah, indeed. So remember, like that little cupie of nuts that I did on your birthday with like a candle in the middle. If I can find the picture, I'm gonna put it here.
And do you remember that? Because at that point, I think I'd already figured out my nut thing, and I didn't eat them.
Yeah,
I had like
yeah.
two maybe, and I gave you the rest, because like I knew it was gonna happen if I started eating those nuts and like let myself eat them. Right? The whole bag would have been gone from the cupboard.
So the comments was interesting, because the same goes with cheat meals. Like, it's not a for us anyway, it's not a viable option, for example, to be keto 6 days a week and have a cheat day. Like, you have to understand. Yeah, you have to understand, like, having that cheat meal is going to kick you out of keto. Getting back on keto takes like 3-4 days.
3 to 4 days.
So like this, that doesn't make sense.
So you're in keto for 2 days a week.
So that's not
all the work you're doing during the week to eat properly, to only benefit from it 2 days a week. And I do think that most people who end up having cheat days, multiple days in a month, end up not doing keto, because you're out of it more than you're in it, and your cravings are there, and it's pushing you, and you're right. But then if we don't understand that that's what's happening, we think keto doesn't work. Right? Of course it works if you're doing it. If you're not doing it and giving yourself excuses to not do it, it's not going to work. Now, the other thing to think about is that who are you cheating on? If I cheat on a test, I'm cheating the teacher and the system, right? If I cheat on my spouse, I'm cheating him. If I cheat on my diet, I'm cheating me? How does that make sense? All right, first of all, I know what I'm doing, right? So I'm trying to lie to him because I want to eat, right? Or I'm trying to lie to myself that this doesn't matter. But at the end of the day, when I feel poorly, at the end of the day, when my weight goes back up, at the end of the day, when I don't have energy, or my mental clarity is through the floor, I know what I did, right? You can't cheat on yourself, right? And at some point, and at some point you live the guilt, you live the shame, you live the disappointment, and what does that make you do? You eat some more, right? It's a vicious cycle. Don't fall into it. I know there's a lot of people on the internet saying a cheat meal once in a while is normal, inevitable, going to happen. It's not true. Because I know there's millions of you out there who have never cheated on your spouses. I know there's millions of you out there who have never cheated at work, like said you worked days that you didn't work, right? It's not inevitable that you have to cheat. And as a matter of fact, you can't cheat on yourself. So it's just ridiculous. You know what you're doing.
Let's talk about soda now. Because we know that there's a lot of sugar. We don't even think about we don't even talk about regular soda. You want to avoid that at all costs. But like, we have a funny comment on one of our keto Christmas tradition that we did a couple months ago. Did he like diet soda? Did he or she was like, I think that she's talking about me. Did he just suggest diet soda? I thought you are big fans of eating healthy. Be careful about what you suggest. I don't think we've ever really suggested like diet soda to you wellness warriors. We always suggested instead, if you can have bubbly water, like regular bubbly water, it's better. We do drink diet soda once in a while, though, because we like it. We never really got rid of it in our diet.
Although we were working on it.
Well, yeah. But but we don't know. Yeah, we do drink it, but we don't recommend it at all.
Of course not. I would never tell someone to drink diet soda. It's like, it's poisonous. But here's the problem. So I think that the same way that I do also drink wine once in a blue moon, like once in a blue moon, I take a decision to drink wine, and I take decisions to drink diet soda. So again, I walk in, I'm not cheating, I'm not evading. I know fully well drinking diet soda is bad for me. And again, working on it, right? Like, I'm not going to try to pretend, the same way that we don't pretend to you that our kids are keto, because they're not. The same, like, remember, my ultimate goal is for you guys to know the truth. so that you can do what's healthy for you. But I'm not going to lie and say that I'm not doing something that I'm doing. I'm doing this, right? But I'm not cheating either. I know fully well when I drink a diet soda, I should not be drinking that. And Pat the same way.
Yeah.
When he drinks a diet soda, he knows he shouldn't be drinking that. Right? So let's be clear on something. We weren't suggesting, and if we did suggest it,
We were sorry.
I'm like
go
right
watch
now
the
going to
video.
say I didn't watch the video
Yeah.
that she's that came from, but right now I'm going to say that if I did suggest it, well, you said that you suggested it, so then like I'm sure you didn't mean to suggest that, and if that was what happened, apologies from the channel. Diet soda is not healthy. That's just clear. And honestly, I don't know. I can't say one is worse or better than the other. All the things that we intake that causes our body to detoxify, including artificial sweeteners, we should be avoiding, because if our liver is working excessively for no reason, that's a waste of resources and it's a waste of time. Now, all that being said, I definitely also encourage people not to drink diet sodas because of the sweet taste that happens. And that sweet taste can engage you chasing carbohydrates because your brain can't tell the difference between fake sweet and real sweet. Another reason that I often say, don't be fooled by these keto-friendly things that have artificial sweeteners in them, because you're still going to be pushed down that rabbit hole.
I have the same reaction. But I remember clearly, I think it's on that video that like you did the experience once where you had like a diet soda before a meal and you were hungry like until the time of your meal. So I remember we even when we drink the diet soda, we usually drink it with our meals.
Yeah.
So we're not triggering the hunger and have those processes that you're talking about, the same triggers of like appetite because of the sweet taste. So yeah, if we did recommend, like, apologies, because it was not the point. I'm gonna go rewatch the video, but yeah, you should be careful. And there's like many replacement. You can have bubbly water that don't have just like, even with that, be careful. At the grocery stores, you have the bubbly water that has just even the natural flavors, like you can question that. But there's no sweeteners, where like just right beside you have like those tasty waters, but like they have artificial sweeteners. So again, we always say read the labels, like pick up what you're comfortable with. If even like probably getting just bubbly water, natural bubbly water, put a little bit of lemon juice in it, you're gonna have a very low calorie and something tasty that's gonna be fully natural.
And actually, I remember in that video that we were talking about our own carbonated water. Now that you mentioned that, and a lot of the time that's what we do is we have our own. It's interesting how when you carbonate your own water, it tastes better. But then, of course, okay, in fairness, I carbonate my own filtered water. So it's carbonated, it's extra filtered. So maybe that's why it tastes so much better to me. But it tastes better than when you buy carbonated water. And you can carbonate it how much you want, and we like our carbonated water really carbonated. So that's one thing I'm going to say. But we also talked about in that video nitro coffee. It's another thing that we drink a lot. So I mean, again, yes, of course, diet soda is not great, and I'm not suggesting that anybody should be drinking diet soda. And I think that everyone needs to also pay attention to the things that we're learning as we go through this process. All the things that we're figuring out are not healthy for us, and take your decisions. If I wasn't doing what I was doing, I never would have figured out how much nightshades were hurting me, right? But now that I know that nightshade vegetables are hurting me, I no longer eat them, right? What are you doing, and how much are you paying attention to the things that are hurting you? All right, so we all need to do that.
So no sugar, like everything that's gonna, for sure, like we don't assume that the comments, like the questions from the comments we talked about here are people that are doing keto, but like clearly if like those things are not compatible with keto, everything that's gonna push you over 20 grams of carbs, like will probably make it so you're not in ketosis and not burning fat instead of carbs for fuel.
And it's also going to harm your health. I mean, the more important thing, whether you're keto or low carb, is understanding that the more sugar you intake, the more your body is being damaged. And all those micro damages over time lead to metabolic issues, lead to health issues. And there's so many things that we live today that we were not living before 1970s. There are so many conditions that exist today that were not existing before the 1970s. We have to question why. The 1970s was when the whole low-fat thing started to show up. So we need to question why. I'm asking everyone to just question, look at what you're doing, and make decisions for yourself rather than being led by the products that are being suggested to us as easy. It's not easier to be sick. Trust me on that one. I lived it for years. It really isn't easier to be sick. I thought that those quick things that I was doing in the oven was making my life easier. But coming home and cooking almost every single day actually turns out to be much easier for my life than eating quick meals that I can pop in the oven and don't have to touch it again for 20 minutes. Surprisingly, I'd rather do the meal that makes me have to do a bit more work. Not a lot of work, because you know me, but a bit more work, right? Cook that meat, prepare those vegetables, prepare that salad, or even just olives and cheese. But it's easy. There's some videos on the screen right here that are going to help you to improve your physical and mental health some more. Wellness Warriors, always love it that you guys come back. All the new people, thank you for coming by.
And if you like the video, we would appreciate if you could like and subscribe.
I want to thank you for watching Mind Blowing Health and Wellness with Violet, Pat Chat Edition. Love making these videos for you guys and can't wait to talk to you again next week.
Talk to you next week.